Greetings, this is FescueCat, and this is a guide to soloing Silo Sigma, the level 15 silo in the Manibus scenario. Now, before we get to the actual guide portion, I want to talk about builds a little bit. It wasn't relevant for the Ravenous Hunter guide because, well, practically anything can kill Ravenous Hunter, but the further you get into the game, the more important your build starts to become. So I just want to cover some bare-bone basics on that before we get going. If you're not interested in basic build information, then go ahead and use the chapters to skip ahead to the portion of the video that you are interested in. Alright, let's talk build basics. One of the main things you want to pay attention to is your gear set bonus. As you can see here, I have 4 pieces of the raid set, and because of that, I get the full set bonus. All I'm really interested in, though, is the 3rd tier bonuses. When the load is over 80, which it is, I take 10% less damage and do 20% more damage with both weapon and tactical items. Likewise for the Scout Mask, because I've got 2 pieces of the Scout set, I get a 10% HP bonus and an 8% weapon damage bonus. I could remove 1 piece of my raid and put another piece of something else in to get another 1 tier bonus, but I'm not that concerned about optimization right now. The key thing is to pay attention to these bonuses, because they can really make or break a build by having the right, or wrong, bonuses for what you're trying to do. You are also going to want to start picking up some better weapons than the basic blue tier stuff. Now, this particular weapon would have to be purchased from the Wish machine for 8,000 Starcrom. If you've been playing the game normally and you're ready to take on a silo, I can almost guarantee that you have earned 8,000 Starcrom and can buy whatever weapon you want just outright, rather than relying on the random chance mechanics. What weapon you buy is really up to you. It doesn't matter, honestly. All weapons are viable. Some weapons are maybe a little bit harder to use than others, but every weapon's viable, at least when you're doing normal difficulty clears. So I have a shrapnel weapon, and in case you don't see that information, the A and D key, at least on mouse and keyboard, will toggle back and forth between the information. So this is a shrapnel weapon, which can scatter out and do additional damage to enemies around you. And calibration's kind of irrelevant because it doesn't have high enough bonuses. And then I've got a burn weapon. And on this sniper rifle, I did treat myself a little bit. My calibration is +4. Now that did cost me, I want to say 46 Stardust, but that represents maybe 20 to 30 minutes of killing Ravenous Hunter over and over again. And the reason why I did this is the damage bonus will allow me to one-tap enemies in the silo, which we'll see why that becomes important. Again, this is not a hyper-optimized build by any stretch of the imagination, but you do want to start paying attention to your builds moving forward. One last thing, before I forget, modifying your weapons. Mods, accessories, well, and cosmetics, because fashion is the end game, as it is in most online games. But mods, these again can greatly help out your build in terms of damage output or survivability. This is one of the mods that you could get, and probably have gotten, from killing the Ravenous Hunter. It's not going to do much, an extra 1.6% bonus to my blaze damage. Yay. But every little bit helps. Accessories will not directly impact your damage, generally speaking, but they will help you do damage. In the case of the muzzle, I get more range and more accuracy, and the laser sight is giving me more accuracy and faster aiming speed. Both of these as you can see here, sold, Myers Market, sold, Myers Market, which is the settlement you're directed to after clearing the Ravenous Hunter. So both of these are very easily obtainable for a sniper rifle. And then finally, your deviations. Again, for normal clears, deviations are a matter of taste. I still have the butterfly equipped for the damage potential. One thing to keep in mind, the festering gel is a deviation that you will get from clearing the Ravenous Hunter. This is a healing deviation. If you find that you are running very low on activators, or you're burning through too much resources trying to maintain your supply of activators, consider switching out to festering gel, because it's a pretty good healing deviation that you can acquire very early on. Alright, that is enough on builds. Let's actually get to the silo. The silo is located just inside of the Broken Delta, sort of southwest of the Monolith of Greed. Once you clear a silo, it will act as a teleport point, which is good because grinding silos is one of the ways that you earn higher level mods once you can do the hard and promo clears. Obviously, with a level 16 character, we're doing normal. Before you go into the silo, you will want to talk to T-Man here. He will give you a quest that will give you a decent amount of experience upon completion. For the silo itself, in this first room here, I generally like taking out these enemies from up here rather than going into there. If you are at the recommended level, level 15-ish with tier 2 gear, you don't want to just rush into here because there's enough enemies in here your health can go down very fast. Remember, these are Rosetta enemies. They basically have hit scan weapons and you will be taking damage. Now, if you can one-tap them, oddly enough, shooting them with a sniper rifle doesn't alert the entire room. Now, there are a couple of things to watch out for this room. There is a sniper right there I need to take care of. And then after you trigger the combat, you will have two enemies that jump down from that doorway there. And then on a much larger delay, you will have two more enemies that drop down from this door here. It's important that you wait and get these two enemies here, who apparently I cannot shoot at all. There we go. Because if you just charge in and start engaging with the next room before you have dealt with them, you could end up taking shots to the back and just be in a bad situation. And evidence as to why you should always be spamming Q, there is a chest hidden between the server racks here that you do not want to miss. Nothing too special in this room, just a variety of collectibles and an annoying habit of picking up explosive oil drums. In this next room, we have an elite, several enemies, and a turret. I generally like to, in the turret, you can see these little glowing lights right there. I generally like to clear the enemies out from this room. So that way I don't have to deal with the turret. And if you're far enough away from the Rosetta enemies, at least on normal mode, their accuracy is somewhat atrocious and they won't cause you too much damage. Nope, I don't think I finished reloading. I did not. always let the reload animation finish. It will let you override it, but then the reload won't finish, and you'll be caught off guard when you switch back to the weapon that you swore you reloaded. And there's the annoying turret. There's a variety of chests and such in this room. I am not going to go through and pick up all of them. There's a chest and lots of pick-upables, or lootables, as I like to call them. And occasionally a logging beaver, apparently. The one thing you absolutely want to get, besides probably picking up the health packs, which, given how many activators I have, yeah, I better pick up that one. But the one thing you absolutely want to get is this drop right here, because that has the access card for the optional boss. Don't miss out on this emergency bag right here. It's an easy one to miss. Now, this room has 2 enemies in it. Nothing special. Oh, right, I don't have my sniper rifle equipped. I was momentarily very confused there. Like I said, nothing special on the enemies in this room. Again, there's another health bag here that you probably don't want to miss, plus a chest and various lootables. Medkit on the wall. Most importantly, there is a weapon crate in this room here that you will, of course, want to pick up. It will only be tier 1 weapons, generally speaking, but still worth it. And then there's a vent entrance right here, or a duct entrance. Go all the way to the back. Up a ladder. And into this room. Now again, if you have the ability to one-tap enemies, you can take all 4. There's 1, 2, there's another enemy over there, and there's an enemy up there on the platform. You can take all 4 of these guys out without them noticing. One thing to keep in mind, don't be afraid to use consumables in this game. For example, throwing daggers are ridiculously powerful. That thing does more damage than my sniper rifle. They do have chronically short ranges, however. I'm actually surprised I got that guy. Now, before you proceed on from this area, there's a couple of things. One, there is a ladder here that leads up to a room that has a standard chest in it. The chest is far enough away that Snap is not going to reveal it. There's also an enemy up there. Generally, what I like to do to not get shot a bunch in the face is I will come over here and take out the enemy from this platform, and then climb up the stairs there to get the chest. But before doing that, you're going to want to come to this little ominous looking room here and use that key card that you picked up from the Elite to gain access to the optional boss. Not every silo has an optional boss, but most of them do. And they are, generally speaking, worth doing because you can get some rare deviants from them. This particular one, you can get the killer rabbit. Activate the arcade machine, and optionally get rid of the enemies before you do that. And you will now have to deal with wave defense. I don't have the best weapon loadout for this because I don't have any area of effect damage. I guess the shrapnel. But the enemies are a little bit too spread out for shrapnel to work really well. You can see it triggering there. Now, one thing you do have to watch out for are the gas bags. If you are at level, you cannot take very many of their explosions, and they will leave behind an area of effect. As even after using an activator, and I took some damage there, and I might actually go down. You also have these annoying bugs that have, like, basically sniper shots. Do not be afraid to run around in a level to gain some time and space to be able to use the help. Also, don't be afraid of leaving the circle area, because you will not lose progress. And they got me, which I suppose is a good demonstration of the death mechanics in a silo, as I did not bother to bring any adrenaline shots in, which I should have. You do suffer a gear penalty. Like, your gear will take damage from falling. But actually, not much else happens. Notice I still have 31 out of 100 on the charging, and all the enemies are dead. While it wouldn't be very good in terms of, like, your repair bill, when you have to come out of this and repair all your gear, you can zerg your way through a silo just by dying and repeatedly coming back. Wouldn't recommend it. Wouldn't exactly be the most effective use of resources. And let's just jump back to fighting the claw machine. Alright, now that we've hit 90 charge, the claw machine will show up. Now, odds are you are not going to be able to blow up the teddy bear before it gets launched at you. So you're just going to have to accept that, yeah, you're getting a teddy bear to the face. Yep, and why am I switched weapons? You definitely want to get rid of those little doll spiders, as I call them, because they will flashbang you, which is really annoying. Also, I hate your tracking shots. Stop that. Like that. And then once the claw machine is down, you need to clear out any stragglers. Oh, I thought you were dead. Apparently not. Once he's down, you can finish charging up to 100, kill any stragglers that are left, and the optional boss fight is down. No rabbit for me. And of course you get a tier 2 weapon, some additional mods, and Stardust. Okay, finally found one of these. One thing to keep in mind as you're going through silos is keep your eyes open for these little glowy things. Because Sigma is such a small silo, they can sometimes do this weird goofy thing where they're all clumped at the very end. Normally they're more spread out than this. But you want to shoot these down because once destroying all 3, you'll get another glowy loot drop. So it's very much worth keeping your eye open for them. Now, this room here is where the boss is. So there's the boss there, Captain Dave. He's a Gatling gunner. And you've got a healer there. You got a couple of gunners. You have a healer there. And like in most scenarios, if you can one-tap enemies, they won't immediately alert onto you. So I'm going to switch to the sniper rifle. One-tap him. One-tap him. And then there's one... Nope, that's not it. I think there is one more healer back there. But now that I've gotten rid of his guard, I will designate him the target for my little butterfly. As soon as the butterfly hits him, for the extra weak point damage, come on, butterfly. There you go. I will open up. Now, this guy can put out an alarming amount of damage on you. There we go. There's some additional people who come in from the sides. You do want to take out the healers, because if you leave them alone, they can cause Dave to start regaining health, which is more annoying than anything else, but still, the less regen the boss gets, the better. And that butterfly does some serious work. Now, before I go forward and claim the stuff down there, don't forget this little side area over here. You have a storage crate, in addition to just a whole bunch of lootables. You got the trash can, you got 2 desks. So you want to make sure you grab all of that. Almost always the final of the little deviants, not sure, just the weird little guys. I'm not even sure what to call them. But usually the last one will be in here, so make sure you grab that. Again, you can never have too much Stardust source. There's several of these emergency bags, emergency medical bags, that you definitely want to pick up. And then there's a storage crate over here. Remember that silos follow the same logic that settlements do. Every 4 hours, they respawn. And then finally, loot crate. And, oh, I lucked out. Sometimes in Sigma, you will get a variation on the butterfly. Grab all of that. Some more Stardust source. And you are done. Now, you can definitely clear this silo out shorter than 17 minutes. I did die once. Don't do that. But if you have better gear, slightly higher calibration, you can go through a lot quicker. Plus, it helps when you're not talking. But wait, we're not done. We need to talk about hard mode now. Now, for hard mode here, it's really important to stress the fact that you need good gear. Like, you'll see my damage output. I don't have terrible gear. I have +5 calibration on the critical pulse and boom boom, and I have a full set of tier 5, but uncalibrated tier 5. It's important to remember that calibration on your armor increases psi intensity, which is what your secondary weapon effects, like shock and burning, rely upon to do their damage. So you are leaving damage on the table, so to speak, if you do not have your gear fully kitted out. I also have no mods equipped or anything else like that, so basically I have a trash build. And consequently, I have trash output for my damage. But there's a very, very good reason besides just not wanting to be trash that we want to pay attention to this. For hard mode, pro, and nightmare, you need to deal with super anomalies. If you do not have a weapon/cradle slot configured for dealing with a super anomaly, you are going to have a very bad time. As in, I'm pretty sure you can't do it because you'll have a hellishly punishing enemy that you can't kill. So, this changes too, by the way, so pay attention to this. Currently, it's phase. And so, for demonstration purposes, I have anti-phase equipped on my cradle slot. So, my crossbow is anti-phase. Also pay attention to the weekly modifiers. These will, generally speaking, not be drastic enough to change how you're going to approach a silo, but you do want to be aware of them. And of course, why would I want to do this? Well, on hard, you've got a much better chance of getting legendary mods. On pro, you get legendary mods with guaranteed epic slots, and on nightmare, you get guaranteed epic slots with attribute levels of at least 9. So, not too bad. Plus, your weekly bonus is a very nice chest. The weekly bonus for pro and hard basically doesn't exist. Come on, devs. Improve base defense. It is fun. Regardless, that's why you'd want to go through and do this. Now, for pro and nightmare, honestly, don't solo these. Even if you are capable of soloing pro, the efficiency is just not there. And I'm pretty sure nobody can solo nightmare. Prove me wrong with the video. In any case, let's do a very quick run through hard. Don't worry, I have no intentions of doing the whole thing. For the most part, the silo is the same with a few minor alterations. First, this room. There's a few more enemies in here than there was when we went through on normal. Plus, there he is, the super anomaly phase. Still have the sniper up in the corner there, and you will have the additional enemies coming in from the side. I am going to clear this room out with Mr. Wish, and then deal with the enemies that jump down to visit. And you can see, even with okay-ish gear, still taking a lot of shots here to get rid of things. Will you get down from there? Oh, that was a terrible shot. I'm also taking damage pretty quick here. So yeah, you can see how much damage I've already taken and how long it's taking me to take down a single guy. You need to go into the hard mode silos with the appropriate gear. And with that, I am going to switch invulnerability on because I don't want to deal with actually fighting. Thank you, drone. I am aware of your presence. Oh, you finally came down. So, not much else different with this room. You still got the two guys coming down from there. You got the guys coming from over there. Now, this room, slightly different. You've got a few more individuals. We still have our friend, the turret, up there. But this time, our elite is a bruiser with the shield, which is pretty annoying to deal with. Not too bad. Again, you need to kill the bruiser in order for those to go away. And of course, he has the access card. In an interesting turn of kindness, I guess, there's actually no enemies in this room. So, go figure on that one. Of course, all the weapon crate boxes, etc., are in the same locations. This room, again, is mostly the same. There's two alterations. One, we have a turret. 2, we have another phase enemy. And again, if you've not seen phases before, this is why you need to have the correct weapon for them. I am mag dumping into this guy, and his health bar is not moving. It's not until I switch to the crossbow, which has the anti-phase attributes on it, that I actually start doing something resembling damage. Again, don't have time for this. Go away. Everything else is pretty much the same here. I am not going to do the optional fight. The crane fight's basically the same, with a few more enemies in the waves, and the crane has a shield. No new mechanics, no new enemies, nothing worth talking about. This boss fight, however, is very much worth talking about. There's a lot more enemies going on here. And he has a new mechanic. And a shield. When we come in, the big change is you've got 2 of these massive bullet sponges here. I really do not like these guys. They're just gigantic bullet sponges. And you will eventually get some additional adds in here as well. And I'm going to ignore everybody shooting at me and deal with the boss. So he's got a shield, nothing particularly interesting there. He also has a heal mechanic. I believe it is time-based. The longer you take to kill him, the larger the chance is that he is going to activate his healing mechanic. And he heals for a lot. The other thing of note is once you get him down to half health, he will become shielded, and you, oh, there we go. There's his stupid healing mechanic. You can see how much he heals up too. It's a lot. But you'll have these shadow Gatling guns that spawn on either side of the room, and you have to use these to take out his shield. You can also use it to take out other enemies. Oh yeah, and when that happens, more enemies spawn in. You notice it's gotten a lot more crowded in here. But you do want to take him out as swiftly as possible, because he will keep doing that healing mechanic thing. And from this point, it is ye old standard boss fight. If I can equip the Mr. Wish rocket, it would be appreciated. There we go. And of course, once you kill him, everybody else dies, but you probably also died if you hadn't already taken care of all the small fry. And is it worth it? Well, I mean, you get legendary mods. But the only reason why you would grind the hard modes for silos is to try to improve your mods, your mod storage. So, and that's it. That is the solo guide for both normal and hard on Silo Sigma. If you found this useful or interesting, a thumbs up would be appreciated. And if you didn't, well, thumbs down button is right next to it. Until next time.